Hello viewers, you join me, Jasper Bruce Wright, in the DS Automobiles DS7 Esprit de Voyage 4x4 FEV, which is one hell of a name for what could be one hell of a car. Now, this is DS Automobiles' most premium crossover model, essentially, and it is quite a large one. The cabin is very spacious, very airy, and it's a very premium experience in here. You have a clock that curls itself out of the dashboard when you turn the car on. You've got some lovely embossing in the leather on the dashboard. You've got leather on the dashboard and on the door cards and on the seats. It's a very, very well-appointed cabin. And it's that classic DS Automobiles thing where essentially you've got a lot of interesting materials that are very nice, and you've got a lot of interesting shapes that are very nice. So the window switchers are in the center console. They are a lovely little flickable switch. Your gear stick is the classic PSA thing, and the dashboard itself has got some fantastic different shapes and stitching, contrast elements, lovely textures all over it. It's a very premium and very highly refined experience. You've got speakers everywhere, you've got a load of different interesting materials, and the interesting thing for me is, what will the driving experience be like? Now, this is a plug-in hybrid, and the plug-in hybrid element means that you can drive this on full EV mode if you'd desire. Now, that is not what I desire, so I shall be using the hybrid mode. And also, because this is the full-fat plug-in hybrid, it's actually a 4x4 model, so there's a 4x4 setting if you really want that extra bit of grip that offers you. This is the most powerful powertrain available in this model, and that is because the petrol engine produces somewhere in the region of 200 and something PS, and the electric motor produces 110 PS, and if you add those two together, you get 300 PS. And that's because of where the different power and torque bands overlap, so you don't quite get the full 300 and something, you get 300, which is a nice round figure. And what you also get with that is 520 Newton meters of torque, which is excessive, quite frankly, for something like this, I would say. I'm not whinging though, because it should certainly feel quite sprightly. What I will say is the air conditioning is excellent. I am freezing. Now, the climate control is built into the central screen. However, you've got two large permanent displays for the temperature adjustment, which is good because it means you don't faff about finding the button buried in a menu somewhere. The central infotainment screen is excellent as well. It's huge and the graphics are wonderful. Digital drivers cluster as well. Very nice graphics, very crisp, and in theory you can display a lot of information in it. I should also somewhere have a button for heated seats, but what I do know is that I have a button for massaging seats as well, because this is after all the most premium model, and it's all in French. Oh, chauffage et ventilation. Oh, and massage. So I can ventilate and heat my bottom. Excellent. Right, give me heat, please. I'm cold. What do I make of the driving experience? The engine cuts in and out as is required by the plug-in hybrid system. So that means that you essentially can have an effortless and silent driving experience if you're bumbling about in EV mode only. The engine is pretty refined when it does cut in. It's a 1.6 litre turbocharged petrol 4-cylinder. It shifts very well. The 1.6 engine is mated to PSA's own 8-speed automatic gearbox. It's a conventional auto, and it is quite a good one. It's very smooth and pretty capable, and it's very well matched to their engines, I must also add. So on the whole, that ICE power plant is very good. The addition of the electric power plant just adds that extra element of smoothness and ease of power delivery. The steering is very light. It's not particularly connected. It's also very vague on centre, so the car doesn't dart about. It's not going to, it's not that kind of car. It's not designed to be sporty. It's designed to be luxurious, refined, and just waft you about almost. In excessive comfort, of course, the French way. I've got paddles behind the steering wheel, and the cruise control is buried on one of those stick things that some manufacturers like, except the whole stick doesn't move, it's just buttons, which is interesting. Yeah, it's a bit understeery when you push it, but when you push your foot through the kickdown switch, you do get a nice surge of power. The engine is a little bit vocal when you really press on, but not excessively so, to be honest. One other thing is the display in the driver's cluster fades in and out with additional information depending on whether you need it or not. So this is showing me now I'm pulling from the battery pack and the engine, but if I don't actually want to display that, I can make it go away, essentially. I can choose, oh, minimal, there you go, and that will just show me the speed and the gear. You know what? It's not a sporty driving experience, but it is a very luxurious one. The cabin is excellent. The steering wheel feels lovely. I've even got contrast stitching on the centre of the steering wheel. Now, that sold. I'm very picky about interiors, and this is lovely. It's also pretty practical. I've got huge door bins down here with somewhere that is well integrated for a bottle of water. I've got a dual opening centre kind of cubby, which is humongous, and I've got cup holders here in the centre, and I've got a large storage bin underneath the infotainment screen which covers over beautifully, and it'll have that French glove box thing where, yeah, the glove box is tiny because the fuse box is in there. That's a shame. Other than that though, it's surprisingly practical in here. The boot is electronically operated, and you do have a little bit of space taken up by the charging cable, but if you were running this and able to charge at home, you could feasibly leave that cable at home, so you don't lose the space depending on your drive setup. This is overall an excellent car, and I'd be really keen to get my hands on one of these for a week to see what it's properly like to live with, because the first impressions I have is that for somebody like me, I could live with this very easily. I probably miss the slightly sporty element, but certainly from a performance perspective, you've got enough on tap to make it feel pretty sprightly, and the only thing you'd be lacking is the engagement from a sharp drive experience, I think. So thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, please do let us know by liking. You can also comment and subscribe to the Buckle Up YouTube channel if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you very much. Goodbye.